Hi, it's Emily and Ken, and we're here for another webinar. And our topic today is 5 questions that come up with root cause analysis. And so, Ken, you've got 5 questions here that you hear students and clients, and just in a lot of conversations, these questions come up. So we're going to talk about them and get a little bit more insight. And this is relating to just kind of our business in root cause analysis.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of these questions either came from students, most of them are from students that we get fairly frequently during our courses. And they also come up at conferences. We see these kinds of things in the background. These kind of questions are sometimes not even specifically stated, but are obviously out there. And so I think this would be a kind of a good way to kind of answer a bunch of questions before they're asked that way.
I like it. All right. So the first question is, what is a root cause?
Yeah, that's it seems like that should be such an easy answer, doesn't it? I mean,
you could answer it in a lot of ways too.
And that's the problem. During our classes, I'll ask what is your definition of a root cause? And if I have 25 people in the class, I'm pretty confident I'll get 25 different answers. So there's different ways of thinking about definitions of root causes. We have our own definition internally at Taproot, which is kind of it's meant to be kind of a little more positive instead of a bad thing. It's an opportunity. So our definition of a root cause is really just talking about the absence of best practices or the failure to apply knowledge. So thinking about that, we have the opportunity to put best practices in place and to apply good knowledge to our businesses. So it's not meant to be a way to poke people. It's meant to be a way of thinking about how root cause analysis can put positive things into your company. We have also found every now and then, it just came up recently again, this idea that floats around that, hey, I saw it just on LinkedIn maybe about 3 months ago. There's no such thing as a root cause. I swear that's some consultant goes out there and says, I need to make a name for myself, so I think I'll say that again. And it comes around every 3 or 4 years, every 5 years. There's no such thing as a root cause thing. And I try not to roll my eyes, but I do. There's obviously root causes out there. And normally when people say that, it's not their fault. They just don't realize there is research that shows that humans make errors for certain reasons. And when you do human performance-based root causes, there are, no kidding, scientifically realized root causes for why humans make the decisions they make and why they make errors and why they make mistakes.
I might be jumping ahead, but in the Taproot methodology, there is an official definition.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What is the official definition of what a root cause is?
Yeah. So for Taproot, it's the absence of best practices or the failure to apply knowledge that could have prevented the mistake or made the mistake less severe. So that's our definition of a root cause.
Say one more time.
Yeah, it's the absence of a best practice or the failure to apply knowledge that would have prevented the error from occurring or made the consequences less severe.
Yeah.
So that's our definition. And reading into that definition, it's not meant to be a nebulous kind of thinking. It is these are human performance problems that allow these best practices to be in place. So when I say it's a missing best practice, it's a best practice that would have affected a human, the human performance. And that's where our definition is meant to be a little positive. It's, hey, look what management and leadership team can do to improve our operators' opportunities to do things the right way. So it's a very positive way of looking at root cause analysis instead of just, oh, here we go again, somebody's going to get in trouble. That's not the purpose of root cause analysis at all. It's meant to understand why humans make errors and then put corrective action in place to fix those. And there's almost always multiple root causes, right? Because humans rarely make errors for a single reason. There's usually multiple reasons.
So that brings us to our next question. What is the root cause?
Yeah, that comes directly from students all the time is, hey, my boss, at the end of our analysis and our investigation, he wants to know what is the root cause. The root cause. What is that? The thing we're going to do here, right? And like I mentioned, it's rare that you have a root cause because our companies are smart enough not to have single point failures in most cases.
Right.
Right? So we don't allow a single error to cause an incident. So when you have an incident, it's almost always because there are multiple errors, multiple root causes, multiple problems that occurred. So when you're trying to find the root cause, now don't get me wrong, I understand why management's asking that. They're really asking, I think, how do we, what can we put in place right now that's going to have the most benefit for us, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they're asking, and I get that question. That's a good question to ask. It's morphed into what is the root cause. That one root cause concept has also come up a lot because of less robust root cause analysis systems kind of allow that. So, a 5Y, I don't mind talking about 5Y because it's a generic system. When you're done with your 5Y analysis, you have an answer, one answer, a root cause. And people think that must be the answer then. So the problem with those kind of systems is it's honestly, it's rare that you have a single problem.
It's rare, but so you're saying that in the Taproot system, you could, in some instances, have just one?
It's possible. Okay. I will tell you, it's pretty rare, though. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw a single root cause. It's pretty rare. And again, because most of our companies are smart enough not to allow one problem to cause an incident. The safeguards and all that. Yeah, we have all kinds of safeguards in place. We have processes in place to check each other and make sure single things don't lead to a full incident. So it is pretty rare to get an actual root cause, but that's a kind of a weak point in a lot of these root cause analysis systems. Is they're just letting you as an investigator assume that I'm going to fix one thing and that'll fix all our problems. It's pretty rare.
All right, now here's another one. What questions should I ask? What context are we talking about here? What questions should I ask? Yeah,
great question. So if you're doing when you're doing a root cause analysis, it's assumed that that's part of an investigation that you're doing, right? So when you're out doing an investigation, your investigators are just sometimes they're just thrown out there and they just say, the boss gives you a call and says, hey, go find out what happened.
Okay, so you need to know more of something to guide you on where I'm even supposed to begin.
Right.
What are the actual questions in this investigation to help me with my incident investigation?
Exactly. Okay. As an investigator, I don't just want to get thrown out there and find the guy that sprained his ankle and say, so tell me what happened. I mean, that's an okay question, but I really need to get beyond that, right? Because I know what he's going to tell me. Well, I was walking across the parking lot and I stepped in a pothole and twisted my ankle.
What do you think? Like, what's it look like?
Yeah. So that's not really what I'm trying to figure out as an investigator. I understand the guy's got a twisted ankle, but I'd really like to understand the human performance problems that are wrapped around that. What allowed this person to make that error and to step in the pothole and to twist his ankle and maybe not get the right medical attention afterwards and all the things that feed into an injury in this particular example. It's more than just, well, I stepped in a pothole. But that's all you're going to get if that's the only question you know to ask. So you need some kind of guidance to help you better understand what should I be asking someone when they go when I go out there and do an investigation. What things should I look for? And the things you should be looking for are, again, human performance-based problems. I want to understand why the human made an error. Now, if you're not a human performance expert, you're not going to know what questions to ask. And even getting a bunch of smart people in a room together and having everybody every company has smart people.
Oh, like all the different departments, the managers,
we all have smart people. But that doesn't mean I can get a bunch of smart people and sit them down in a room and they're all magically root cause analysis or human performance experts.
There's limitations to their own knowledge.
They don't know these things. And even a safety guy, for an example like this where somebody was injured, even a safety guy isn't necessarily a human performance expert, probably isn't. And that person probably shouldn't be the one trying to figure out what questions to ask. I mean, I always liken this back to, physicists are really smart people, right?
I hope so.
So, they all understand how forces work and mass and accelerations. They all get all this stuff. I don't think I'd want to ask a physicist, though, about why we dropped something off of a crane and why it almost hit somebody. Now, he understands why things fall, how fast they go, how much impact it's going to have, what the energies are. He's a really smart person. He's probably not the right guy, though, to be asking about why we dropped that thing and what we're going to do about it. So having a bunch of smart people in a room is a good start. I like that as a starting point to kind of maybe get your thoughts in place and get started. But you really need human performance expertise built into your system. Otherwise, you're going to ask the wrong questions.
So on that, just for a sec, okay, so we need to ask questions. I have an idea that maybe there's a place that these questions are already there for me as a guided system.
Yeah.
So I know, so somebody's fallen, they've sprained their ankle. What's one of those questions I'm going to ask?
Yeah, so for example, you'd want to know what were the weather conditions like? Those are some of the questions you'd want to ask. So what were the environmental conditions? You'd probably want to, and that one seems kind of obvious. I think a lot of people would probably think of that, but you'd probably want to know, well, what kind of shoes was the person wearing? Were they an office worker with leather shoes? Were they a rig guy out there with steel-toe boots on? Were they distracted by anything? Were they talking on their cell phone? Were they talking to somebody? Were they carrying something where they couldn't see where they were walking? Was it dark out and the lights weren't working? I mean, these are all
Where were they
kinds of things.
headed?
Where were they headed? Was that the approved walking area, or was he going around something because there was an obstacle in his way today and he went to a place he doesn't normally go?
I think a lot of times these incidents happen too, where it's like, oh, somebody important showed up, I've got to hurry and get something taken care of.
That's
and
right.
It's a change of pace, and we're kind of maybe cutting corners or just speeding up the process.
Or distracted by something, right? So these are all things that you may or may not think of with 5 smart people in a room, may think of these. But you really need human performance guidance that's built into some of our systems, like Taproot. It tells you what questions to ask and make sure you're not missing any of those questions as you're doing your investigation. So what questions should I ask? That's a really good question, and you need some kind of human performance guidance. 5 people, smart people in a room, just are not going to come up with all the questions. They just won't. It's not their fault. They're just not human performance experts. Okay?
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another question here. How do I put effective correction... Try that one again. How do I put effective corrective actions in place?
Yeah, so here we did our investigation, we found all the problems, we did a root cause analysis, we came up with human performance-based root causes. We have them. Well, now what? Unfortunately, this is where a lot of companies fall down. They say, oh, the root cause was, the lights weren't on. Counsel the employee on the importance of ensuring they have a flashlight with them when it's dark out.
Put out a memo.
Yeah, we'll train the guy, or we'll yell at the guy, or maybe we'll write a procedure about it and make sure procedures cover it. Don't get me wrong, I'm a nuclear trained guy, so procedures and training, very important. I understand it. But if that's all you're doing for corrective actions, if all of your corrective actions are only correcting training and procedures, you're probably missing out on more effective corrective actions. So you need some guidance, not just with the root cause analysis, but you need guidance with the corrective action development also. And there's no other systems really do that. They don't really provide that kind of guidance on how to fix the root causes that you came up with. So a lot of different safeguards you can put in place. There's a lot of different tools that we use to help identify really good corrective actions. But you need that kind of guidance. Just like you need guidance on how to do an effective root cause analysis, you need that same guidance on how to put corrective actions in place.
That's good.
So.
Hey, why do we have the same problems over and over? That's a great one.
Why is that? Why does it seem like we have the same problem? We think we fixed it the first time, and there it is again, happens again. Yeah, that's a very common problem or complaint that we see at companies is their root cause analysis systems are just not seeming to provide effective and long-term corrective actions. So they think they fixed it, they put something in place, and then they come back 6 months later, and there it is again. Or we thought we fixed it here.
6 months.
Yeah, if you're
right?
lucky. Yeah, if you're lucky, maybe next week. So there's a couple things that feed into that. First of all, you're probably finding really bad root causes in the first place. If you're not finding human performance-based root causes, if you just got 5 smart people sitting around a table coming up with root causes, they're probably not coming up with human performance-based root causes because they're not human performance experts. So that's one of the reasons that you have recurring problems, is you didn't actually identify the human performance-based root cause. Another problem is that you may have fixed that root cause here, right, at this location, at this facility, but you didn't do a good job of doing what we call generic cause analysis to see if that same problem is at our other facilities. Do I have that problem elsewhere?
Right, or other departments.
Or other departments.
That's another issue where, we've got team silos and just the communication becomes an issue.
That's right.
And they're not communicating what they're finding or what's being replicated.
Yep.
So
a lot of times they don't even recognize that same problem is applicable to another department. So if I have a problem in the EHS department, have you asked your quality guys if they have the same kind of issues over there? And when you're not finding good root causes, you don't see the same issues at other departments. But when you actually get a human performance-based root cause that says something like, we didn't arrange this control panel correctly, and that's why the guy made a mistake and caused an injury. Well, that same type of control panel problem could be in the quality department and causing us to make mistakes while we're manufacturing our widgets and causing us to have bad quality on our output. So those same root causes, because they're human performance-based, can be transferred to other departments, and you can see the same kind of problems there. So that can be a problem. So it could be an issue with poor root causes. It could be a problem with not looking elsewhere for that same problem. You may also find that you're not looking hard enough. Let me phrase that a different way. You could be waiting for that problem to find you.
yeah.
You don't have to wait for an incident to go look for root causes and look for problems. Because I'll guarantee every company out there has problems, even when they don't have major incidents happening. So doing proactive use of the systems allows you to go look for problems and fix them before they actually become major incidents that you have to investigate. So a lot of times that's the problem, is we had a major incident over here, we fixed it, we almost had that incident over there, but it didn't quite cause an incident, so we don't fix it. We don't look for it. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks from now, 6 months from now, all the dominoes line up and we actually have an incident over there. So those 3 issues are probably the main reasons that cause people to have recurring failures, recurring incidents at their facilities. Yeah.
So to recap our 5 questions, what is a root cause? What is the root cause? What questions should I ask as far as investigations go? How do I put effective corrective actions in place? And why do I have the same problems over and over again? Now, if you have other questions, we encourage you to put those in the comments. We'd love to answer those. We do look and see what comments we have. We're all on social media. We have our LinkedIn accounts, things like that. So if you're watching this on YouTube, if you see this on LinkedIn, wherever you are, put your questions in the comments. We're happy to help. And thank you for watching this webinar on 5 questions that are commonly asked in root cause analysis. Thanks for joining me here today, Ken, and we encourage you also to follow Ken on LinkedIn, where he's posting all kinds of content about root cause analysis, and of course the courses that we have all across the globe. We might be coming to a course near you, or give us a shout. We can come to your facility and help you develop root cause analysis training and techniques to stop those accidents and improve equipment and downtime and all the things so that you can be more successful. And of course, we want to save lives.
That's right. That's right. That's our goal. That's our goal. So thanks again for being with us. We appreciate it. And as Emily said, if any questions pop up, don't hesitate to contact us. We're always happy to help.